Welcome to Yambo Industrial College and the Yambo English Language Institute. My name is Shaheen Darwish and I'm a course instructor here at the college. In today's presentation, I'm going to review the ILOs for week 11 and 12 for English 001, which is a requirements course offered here in the foundation year program. First off, let me explain to you what ILOs stand for and what we exactly mean by that. ILOs stand for Intended Learning Outcomes, and they basically encompass all the learning objectives that students are expected to accomplish by the end of the unit. Therefore, these learning objectives are real targets and achievements to be attained by the students and not mere topics to be covered. Now, attaining these goals is in fact realized within the context of three components: General English, GE, Technical English, TE, and the third and last component consists of two sections: vocabulary and grammar. Now, within the first component of General English, students worked on 4 different skills: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Now, for listening skills, students practiced and learned how to make inferences, which is to find out what the speaker really means, how he or she really feels about a given situation. So they practiced listening for keywords and phrases, paying special attention to context, including tone of voice. For example, a phrase like "I didn't want to believe it at first" means that the speaker is shocked. And a phrase like "all of the students received a 0" shows that the speaker is angry. And a phrase that begins with "don't they know" reflects that the speaker is actually frustrated. In addition to that, students learned to pay special attention to the beginning of an audio track because it contains the main topic and the main idea of what comes next. Along with everything, students learned note-taking skills using abbreviations and symbols. Abbreviations like INFO for information, GOVT for government, BC for because, and mathematics symbols like more than, less than, the equal sign, the pound sign for numbers, the ampersand for and that's to name just a few. Moving on to speaking skills, students learned how to source information in order to back up opinion. So they learned phrases like "according to the survey," "according to the article," "the website," "the results found that" or "showed that," "more than half answered yes" or "no," "about 75% agree" or "disagree with that." Moving on to reading skills, students learned how to identify pronouns and their referents within a given text. For example, "my sisters like to bake cakes, but they don't enjoy eating them," shows that "my sisters" is a referent for they and "cakes" is a referent for them, which means that the pronoun "they" refers to "my sisters" and the pronoun "them" refers to cakes. And moving on to writing skills, students practiced writing an opinion paragraph using correct paragraph structure plus appropriate signal words. The the standard academic outline and structure they have been actually practicing throughout the semester, and that is topic sentence, supporting sentences with details, and a conclusion to sum up the main idea. Signal words, they practiced words and phrases like I think, I don't think, I feel that, in my opinion, according to me, students should or shouldn't, and so forth and so on. Now moving on to the second component of our ILOs, and that is technical English. Under the general topic of specifications, students learned to describe dimensions of objects like height, depth, length, and width. For example, how high is Burj Khalifa? It is 828 meters high. How deep are these oil wells? They are 20 meters deep. Or using the nouns thereof. For example, the height of the tower is, the depth of the lake is. They also learned how to describe quantity of countable and uncountable nouns. For example, bottles, nails, and computers are countable nouns, while cement, oil, and water are uncountable nouns. And they learned that how many is used with countable nouns, while how much is used with uncountable nouns for questions. Now, for questions, answers, and statements, students learned that some and any are used for both countable and uncountable. Students also learned how to illustrate future projects using Gantt charts. Gantt charts simply show tasks to be done and their projected completion date. Here's an example of a Gantt chart. For example, foundations will be laid between mid-2024 till the end of 2025. Piers will be built beginning of 2026 till end of 2027, and so forth and so on. Now moving on to the last component, which has two sections, and that is vocabulary and grammar. For vocabulary, students actually have an ongoing access to this list because it is uploaded onto Google Class. So they have a chance, it's actually uploaded at the beginning of the unit, and so they have an opportunity to preview the high frequency vocabulary for that unit and review it at the end of the unit. For vocabulary, they also learned how to use percentages and their counterpart fractions. For example, 25% is equal to a quarter, 33% is approximately 1/3, and so forth and so on. Moving on to grammar, students learn how to differentiate the use of adverbs and adjectives, plus use common adverbs of manner and degree. So they learned that adverbs actually describe verbs. For example, he walks slowly. Slowly describes how he walks. And adjectives describe nouns. For example, it is a difficult quiz. The adjective difficult describes the noun quiz. They also learned that both adverbs of manner and degree usually end in ly. For example, slow becomes slowly, extreme, extremely. And they also practiced exceptions like hard, fast, and well for adverbs of manner, very, rather, and somewhat for adverbs of degree. In addition to that, students practiced using infinitives of purpose to explain why someone does something. For example, why do we learn? We learn, or why do we study? We study to learn. Or we study in order to learn. Or in the negative, we learn in order not to be ignorant. They also learned that there is no difference in meaning between to and in order to. The difference lies only in style, where to is used both formally and informally, while in order to and in order not to sound more formal. Well, this wraps up my presentation for Unit 6, scheduled for week 11 and 12. Here's my email should you have any questions or inquiries thereabout. My email is darwish@rcyci.edu.sa. Now, before I leave, I want to thank you all for your time, and I do hope that this presentation has been both helpful and interesting.